I might push a few buttons with this podcast today. Let me get into it. You have to know your value. If you are a small business owner, or if you own a Fortune 500 company, if you're a content creator, if you're a podcaster like me, or whatever, if you are in business, let me tell you, and you're a service provider, it is imperative, you hear me, if you know your value and your worth, because if you allow it, people will run over you. People will try to cheat you. Okay. People will try to have the service that you're offering, but they'll want to negotiate it to make it smaller. Okay. And, or has it happened to you before where you quote someone, let's say, $500 on something, and to them that's like, oh, that's too much money, and then they go get someone cheaper that does the same thing, but let's say they'll do it for $150, and then you'll see them post the photos or whatever, and the quality is just not there. And I had to learn that lesson myself when doing a cheaper alternate route instead of paying more for something for the quality. Because honey, let me tell you, child, it is quality over quantity, quality over everything. The investment that you put into something or into someone always ends up being worth it, because you get what you want out of the thing, out of the service, out of the equipment, out of whatever. Even with equipment, for crying out loud, if you go with the cheaper option instead of doing the more expensive option that you know you should have done at first, but you opt out for the cheaper route just to see what would happen. And 3 weeks later, the thing dies, and you're like, damn, I should have went with the bigger money investment. Okay. You need to have boundaries. People run over you. People believe that they can run over you in life as well as in general, because you don't have any boundaries. You don't have a bone in the back of there, right? And so, and there's sharks, y'all. There is sharks out here. There is sharks out here and wolves. Okay. When I was a server a few years ago, listen, being a server taught me the game of hustling. Okay. I was serving, and I think I was like 2 minutes late in something, right? And someone had sat in my section, right? I either was 2 minutes later or I went to the bathroom. Either or, I wasn't there at the time when they sat a couple at my table. So I come out, I see they tell me, oh, someone sat at your table. And then this other server, let's call her name Victoria. She done went and took my table. I saw her greeting herself with them and things like that. Oh, hi, my name is Victoria. Welcome to so and so restaurant. Let me know what you need. I'm your server today. And I'm just like, that's my table. And she was like, well, you weren't here. I'm like, I literally was walking in. You saw me walking in. The thing is, I saw her walk over there, and she saw me because we locked eyes, and then she went over there. So you see what I'm saying? Being a server unintentionally taught me the game of hustling. Okay, like the game of life. So there's sharks out here. Okay, so why do you think there's a whole TV show called Sharks or something like that, right? For investors, right? Because they're ultimately sharks. Okay, in for your money. So we get it. The sharks out here. So if you don't have a backbone, if you don't know what you value yourself in as an individual, if you don't know your identity of who you are, and you're pleasing other people with their identities and things like that, then you've already shot yourself in the foot. And I've heard of people being proud of being people pleasers. So this video is not for you. Okay, what I just said prior is not for you, because if you're a proud people pleaser and that's how you have 5-star ratings in your reviews as a business owner or as a restaurant owner or whatever owner that you have, and you are a proud people pleaser because that's your customer service ideology, and that's just who you are, then that's perfect. But this is for the people who do not want to be a people pleaser, and instead they want to be able to say no and not feel guilty. Okay? That happened to me. I had to say no to a customer, to a client. And did I feel guilty? Yes, I did. I felt guilty for multiple reasons. The first reason was because I was finally living in my truth as a business owner, and it made me feel guilty. Living in my truth made me feel guilty, you know? And the second reason is because the person had told me they had ordered something for the shoot, which in turn they didn't, you know. It could have been a lie, or something could have happened with the order shipment, whatever, but it is what it is, right? Because I want to share my lessons in business as a business owner to the aspiring, to the ones that are in it, to like the lessons that I learned in general that I feel like y'all need to know up in here on YouTube and TikTok and LinkedIn, wherever you're watching this video, okay? Like, you need to have your boundaries and you need to be able to live in your truth, whatever that means to you. So, I'm not going to get into it. I do have a blog that goes more into detail about the situation and things like that on my Substack, coachsrose.substack.com. For the sake of being anonymous, I do not want to spill all the deets on here, but if you read my blog, you'll know more information. Okay. And so I had quoted a potential customer $750 for a photo shoot. Okay. So it was like a product photo shoot. I was going to scout models for her because I have experience in scouting models. Some of them are actually like signed now, things like that professionally. I was going to shoot the product for her website, for her IG. She just started selling products in California. So, it was going to be like a big ordeal, right? And I think 750 was like a little bit. And I was going to shoot a commercial for her and edit it, right? If you're a professional photographer, you know that at least costs $1,200 to probably even 2 grand. Okay, because I know a photographer that quoted me for a little 1 minute video for TikTok, $700. Okay, so I know that what I charged was still under value, but I did that because that was my first time like professionally doing that. I've done it for myself. I guess you can call that professionally as well, but I only call things professional when I've done it for other people, and so that's just what I believe and like what I do, things like that. So I quoted her 750 for something, and she was okay with it on the call. We were excited. We were like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to happen," and things like that. And like it was going to be great. Okay. But then she has spoken to some people and they changed her mind. Basically, I call it a fear thing, because when you're sure about something, you make a decision on something, that when you make your own decisions in life, you feel happier, right? But then when you're seeking about external validation from other people, this isn't even about what me, why, like if I feel hurt, because I don't about it, but just in general, if you kind of make your own decisions in life as a business owner or even as who you are, like as you show up in life, like are you even living a happy life? Like, are you even living a free life? Are you even living a life that you desire if you're not making your own choices and decisions? Okay. So, and I only know that because I honestly feel like in my soul, I've been speaking up more for myself and being a supporter of myself. And it's so easy for me to say no now because before it wasn't. I would just go with everything. So me, knowing my decisions and being confident in those decisions and choices has been very empowering. Okay. And I was like, man. And at the time, y'all, it was literally 3 days before rent was due. And I was excited because I was going to make rent. But then she had come back and said no. So I was like, oh, wow. So, the first thing I learned out of all of this was to never depend on clients to pay your rent. Always have passive income, a side gig, a side hustle, or a part time job. If you are an entrepreneur and you're making under $5,000 a month, get a part-time job, okay? Or work your ass harder, okay? So pretty much that happened. And I was like, man, that sucks. I still made rent. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Thank you, universe. So everything was okay. But then she had DM'd me and was like, "Well, I want to do call to filming services instead." And so basically, as you can catch the drift, I also do call to filming services, but I charge differently than I would charge for my photography services, just because based on editing and the equipment and what I'd have to do and things like that. And so, excuse me, I charged less. Okay, on cost of filming services. I also do it with my phone or on my clients' phones, and so it just makes it easier that way, right? Um, it's less work, so I charge differently. And so that's what had happened. I had charged it differently. I did not ask questions. I did not figure out the scope more, and that was my number two big no-no for me. During the sales call, which the discovery call is more like a sales call. Let's be transparent and honest here. I did not ask her purposeful and motivational questions to really dive deep into why she was requesting photography services or for her product and brand, right? If I had done that, I guarantee you it probably would have been a different outcome, because typically when you really get into the why of people and why they do things and why they want to do a photo shoot, things like that, when you know that deeper reason, that sells themselves, right? People will sell themselves to you. They will literally make the sell for you when you ask like when you ask those deep, desire, motivational, purposeful questions, right? And so that was my number three big no no for me. So a lot of things went into it. And when I saw the flyer of it, because it looked like a photographer was going to be there, I said, wait, I like my red flags went on, my body like tensed up. I was like, wait, did I just sell myself short? And I did, right? So I had messaged her and I was like, oh my gosh, is there going to be a photographer there? Like, or am I the only one doing the content filming? And she was like, let's call her Jenny. Okay. Jenny was like, no, you're gonna be the only person there. And I was like, oh. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I'll be able to do this. Not for $85, because I originally quoted her $85, but she wanted a lot of information. I go more into the details of what she wanted in my blog, coachsrose@substack.com. And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do this. And so I refunded her the money because she had already paid, right? And then what happened after that? So she called me and we spoke, and I told her that I could do it for $150 to $200, and she agreed on 150, and we spoke about it. But there was something in my body that still didn't feel right. And I know that feelings are like moments that pass, but it was more like my gut and my intuition in my spirit. Like it didn't feel right. Like I don't want to just take someone's money, even if I do need it, right? I don't want it. Because if I take it, I'm literally telling God in the universe that I want clients like this, and that I want to keep undervaluing myself like this, and that I don't value my work, my creativity. And you're probably like, girl, it's not that deep. But it really is that deep. You see, when you accept shortcomings in your life, if you're observant like me, you're going to notice that you're going to keep receiving shortcomings, and it's your fault. It's no one's fault but your own, okay? It's literally a choice that you made to keep receiving shortcomings. If you say yes to a client that literally baggers you to do something for a lower rate than you would typically would do, you're going to keep receiving those type of clients. However, If you say no, and if you raise your prices, and if you talk in a way that attracts people to you, you will always have people that know your value and that know your worth and will pay you extra because of your worth and because they know that you're different. And so that's what was going through my mind. I was like, if I do this for 150, I will be cutting myself short, especially because I had originally charged her 750, and the concept that she wanted was literally the same, but she just wanted it done with the phone instead of the photo so she can get it for cheaper. And I was like, "No, Jenny." So I emailed her. I said, "Hi, thank you so much for your interest, but I actually will not be able to fulfill your needs in this service." And that's all I said, right? I said something like that. And then she was like, "Well, I hope everything's okay. I know, I was like, everything is fine, but this is what happens. This is how I feel." And luckily, she was very patient, understanding with what I was saying. So she like understood where I was coming from. At least I think. I don't know. It's email. Um, and then, but and there's like other things that happen, little details. But like I said, out of like respect and out of anonymous, like I don't want to mention like everything, but I do say some things in my my Substack again, Coach S Rose at .substack.com. And yeah, I was just like, I cannot do this and things like that. And when I first sent it, I did feel guilty about it because I was like, damn, I verbally agreed to it. No contract was signed or anything like that. So I felt bad, and it's because I wasn't living in my truth as a business owner. Like, if you do something that feels uncomfortable, I felt very uncomfortable when I did that. I said, "Oh my gosh," because I have wonderful testimonials and things like that and case studies. And so I have wonderful clients that enjoy my work. And so I was like, man, and I'm a personal branding coach. So I'm like, man, is this something that can bite me in the ass later, right? And I was like, well, who cares? Who cares? Because I am living in my truth. I am being undervalued. I know my worth. I know my creativity. And I know in that moment that I was being probably taken advantage of, like that perception and things like that, which she very well may not have been intentionally doing that, but that's what I felt. But my perception is different. Everyone has different perspectives. And so at the end of the day, I said, who cares? Because I no longer seek external validation from the masses. The only validation that I seek, that I seek is from people that I trust wholeheartedly, okay, or my own in God, okay? So I seek people that I trust validation, my own, and God. And even sometimes the people that I trust validation doesn't matter to me because everyone has their own bills to pay. Everyone has their own burdens and own past and own history and future that they're all dealing with. We're all dealing with something, okay? And if you're not dealing with anything, stop pretending. Okay. The fact that you keep pretending is what makes you miserable. That's what makes you sad because you're pretending. Stop pretending. When I finally started living in my truth, when I finally stood up for myself, when I finally spoke up and I said no, and I know and feel that that was the right decision for me, not only do I feel confident and empowered in myself, but I have faith in my clarity and in my future. And I know that whatever choice I make can either get me to where I want to be or can take me off the path, right? Whatever choice that you make in life, in business, if you're a content creator, a business leader, or a podcaster, whatever choice you make, that is your own. You cannot blame your co founder or your partner or your employee or your manager. You cannot blame anyone beside your own, especially if you own the business. It is your problem. You can ask people for help, but ultimately, the decision is yours. Even in life, the decision is yours. If you take anything from what I just spoke here, seek validation from you and from people that you trust and from God if you believe in God and the universe. Okay? Because trust me, if there is a feeling in your gut, in your stomach, that tells you you should not do something and you have verbally agreed to do it, because I am a woman of my word. So that's also why I felt bad. But I decided that my integrity costed more than that client. How much does honesty and integrity matter to you in your success? And to you? How much integrity and honesty and values, whatever you value, how much does that weigh to you? What is the cost of that for you? What does your commitment cost to you? And these are all important questions that we must ask ourselves in order to feel peace and confidence in our decision making skills. Because trust me, life is not that hard. Life is not complicated. We make it complicated based on our choices and what we believe. How open is your mind to other beliefs and to other values? I hope, I trust that this video spoke to you today and that you feel the words that came out of my mouth in this video and this podcast spoke to you today. And I trust that if someone ever tries to short you, you are going to stand up and you are going to say, no, sorry, but my integrity costs more than this client relationship. Every client is not your ideal client, okay? Have a great and fabulous day, my friends. And remember to always like and subscribe or follow me on my podcast. And I hope you have a great and beautiful day.